All right, today we're going to build a new aquarium stand. I'm planning on doing it about 9.5 feet long, about 2 feet wide, and 30 to 33 inches tall. It's going to hold 4 tanks ranging from 15 to 30 gallons, and there'll be a slot in the middle for the hoses to pop up from the canister filter. Let me show you a little closer look of the sketch. All right, here's the sketch I drew. These pieces are going to be these thick blocks. These are about 4.5 or 4.25 by 5.25. I love the wood grain on these things. Gonna look nice. But here there'll be basically be a box. I'll make 3 of these. They'll come around like this. This span will be 8 feet, and the top is going to be about 9 feet, which is 108 inches, maybe 112, 114. We'll see how it turns out. For the top, this is going to be a 3-inch thick top that I'm going to rip out of 2x8s and laminate them all together. You can see these little black slots will be an opening because the canisters will be down here and the hoses can come up to filter each tank, and also space for a CO2 tank down there. For today, I'm going to build the legs first. I want to try to I could do at least 2 legs. I only have enough clamps to clamp up 2 legs because I need at least 3-foot clamps. I'll do 2 legs and then I'll start working, ripping the top, ripping the 2x8s, running them through the planer so I can be prepared for tomorrow when I can glue up the other legs and try to get the top done. So this is going to be a notch that I got to cut out of the 6 different legs. So this has to all come out, and then the other piece will come across here with a similar notch, and it'll come, and then it'll hang down a couple inches to come across. So this has about 3 inches of support that'll be resting on this basically 4-inch by 5-inch leg. First thing I got to do is cut each leg to its final length. These are 32 inches now, but I'm going to bring these down to 30 inches. And the middle supports will be 16 inches long, basically from this spot to where it connects into the other leg. Maybe like 15.5 inches long. Just because I got to clean up all the edges because these are a little ugly. This was all rough material that I got for free, and it's hardwood, so it's going to save me a few bucks on this stand. All right, this is one of the horizontal supports. I got to measure this 15.5 inches. I already straightened out this side, so there's a nice clean cut. And then after I cut this to measurement, I'll cut this, which is about a 1/2 inch to 1 inch. I have to cut off the other face. Line up this blade. I like to just rock it back and forth until I get it lined up perfectly. All right, I have the top and bottom supports for the 3 different legs, box legs. These are all cut 15.5 inches. I still have to notch these. These are going to end up being notched like this. Well, it's going to have a 3-inch lip and then come 2 inches back and come back down. Got to do the same thing for all 6 legs. But first, before I do that, I want to cut the actual 6 legs, and cut those notches first. So I know how much I can cut that, because if I'm a touch off with this and I cut that first, then I'm gonna have to recut those so the top will sit nice and flush for the actual stand top. That'll be equal out to a max of 3 inches. All right, I'm gonna cut all these legs at 30 inches. Now I'm just gonna pre-drill a couple holes, just to have the screws embedded in a little bit or inset. This could be by eye, it doesn't really matter because it will never be seen. I'm gonna do the same on every top and bottom piece. Get this out of the way. This one's done. Put it aside so I can work here in front of the camera for you guys. All right, now I'm going to glue these pieces together, clamp them, add a few screws. Now that I have one side of the 2x8s ripped, I'm gonna cut about the final width of each board, which is 3 1/4, and that'll give me a little extra play to run everything through the thickness planer after. Here's 3 1/4, and now I can rip these boards to 3 1/4 and then just go another 3 1/4 so everything stays the same size without having to adjust the measurements. Here's the whole tabletop all ripped up. See, this is right now, this is a full 10 feet. Back up. I barely have enough space to even catch this whole thing in the camera here. But it's a 10, that's basically 10 feet long and 24 and a half wide right now. I'm going to run everything through the thickness planer. Because right now, these are 1.5 inches thick. And I'll probably get it to about 1.25 inches, roughly each one, which will bring the total thickness just a little bit smaller. I'm not 100% sure yet, as long as I'm at least 22 inches wide. If not, I have another couple 2x8s that I can rip up to make sure I have 22 inches wide, because that is the total width that I want minimum. Basically 22 to 23 inches. So I'm going to rip the 2x3s. Basically, that's what they are now. I can run this through here. I'll show you one, but I'm not going to bore you with adjusting the thickness of all of them. Here you can see the line. Line it up. It's as simple as that. You can see there's a little slot for the biscuit right in the middle. And now I just got to do that like 100 more times. All right, this is probably the most stressful part of the whole build. I'm going to have to apply glue on one whole face, put the biscuits, do the next one, and repeat that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 times, and clamp everything together, and clamp the top before the glue dries on me. This is the biggest glue up I've done, so this is going to be a fun process. I got my glue, I got my biscuits here. That's a little more than I need, which is perfect. I have my clamps right over here. So once I'm ready, I can clamp everything and get started. Here we go. I'm going to load on the glue. I have a plastic drop sheet down so I don't make a mess. I got the whole tabletop glued together. You can see this is going to be the slot for the hoses to come up for the canisters. Still got to clean it up. Well, after I just clamped it all together, I got to sand the whole top and make sure it's perfectly flat. I'm going to start off with maybe 60 or 80 grit. Use an 8-foot level and make sure everything runs perfectly flat, so I have no dips or any humps, so the tanks can sit properly. All right, I'm about to apply the last coat. I already gave it a light sand with some 320 grit sandpaper. So now it's nice and smooth. I gave it a light sanding between every coat. So now I'm just gonna give it one last coat and it should be ready to move to the fish room. I just got to move the 600 out of there because I'm not getting rid of that. I'll store that for the future. So let's open this up. That's perfect. It's the rest of the container. My cheap Dollarama brushes. This, I'm just going to apply a thick coat. All right, the last coat is all applied. Here's a close-up. It won't be as shiny as that when it cures, but it'll have a little shine to it. You see on the bottom, I put this piece across the back here, the slot, and I have the same thing on the other side. That'll be for a power bar, and the power could run, and the cables for the canister filters and CO2 kits will be hidden. You see there's these heavy duty L brackets that lock in each leg. There's 4 holding each leg, and then 8 screws on each piece, so it's solid. This thing weighs a ton. Now that looks pretty cool with a nice glass finish like that. This is the back side here, so you won't really see this from the front view. The front view stays nice and clean, just the legs, and then the canister filters with the hoses that'll pop out from here. And I already measured it, so it works out perfect. First tank will start about 4 inches in, run 2 feet, have a 4-inch gap, run 2 feet, have a 4-inch gap, 2 feet, 4-inch gap, 2 feet, and then 4-inch. I have another idea that I'm gonna do in addition to this stand. I'm gonna attach a plant wall that comes up the whole back right up to the ceiling with movable shelves, so I can just move the shelves around, put a bunch of plants, and I already have lights mounted to the ceiling, so the plants will already get good light because there's not much sunlight in that room. But I would be able to move a shelf around. I can build custom brackets that will come off of that wall. I'm going to do a French cleat system, so I can do brackets that come off and hang my lights down for each tank. And then I could also move those brackets around. I can move the shelves around, so it'll be very adjustable depending on how I want the tanks. If I wanted to slide a tank, or if I wanted to change 2 of these tanks and put 1 4-foot tank, I can do it and just adjust the brackets to make it all work. You got to always plan for the future and what you want to do. Sometimes that idea doesn't come to you right at the beginning, but you got to plan that if you wanted to upgrade in the future, you can upgrade and you already have everything set in place.